But even after just that one release, man, the money that I got back from that was crazy. We only sold like 10 units out of 100, and it was still better than pretty much like any royalties I've ever had in legacy music.
Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the NFT project. You're here today with myself, Jai, Boykin, Koi, and Brok from Project DJ. And today we are without Aaron, but we've got two guests with us. Dao Master Dan is back again, and we've got a friend of his or an artist of his, which is Jack. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Jack and his journey into the Web3 space. So welcome, boys. How are we all?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, man. Really appreciate you shedding some light on me.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Should be fun.
Our first double feature with Dan.
Cool.
Double feature with Dan. Well, because we had spoken about maybe having it all in one episode, and we were like, oh, how long would we talk for? And we sort of thought, oh, maybe we should break it up into two, because I could see that conversation going for a long time, and we probably would have gone in and out of talking about sort of, Motor DAO, and then talking about what you guys are doing with Jack, and I could see that conversation going backwards and forwards. It would have been fun, but I think it might have been gone for
Bit
a
of
while.
a headache. Yeah,
could have gone for a while. So yeah, but it's good to have you guys here for this podcast. I did want to start off by just sort of asking how you two met. Is this something that was an online thing, or did you guys know each other before you started on this journey? And then once you guys have done that, maybe Jack, tell us a little bit about you and your music.
Yeah, for sure. So me and Dan have known each other for years now, probably since the early age of, I want to say 11 or 12. We met at school. We went to school together. So
Nice.
like we have known each other long before I started doing music, and well before he got into blockchain and the world of Web3. Yeah. But I think we've just always supported each other no matter what we do. So as the older we got, the more we just helped each other out and stayed involved in each other's lives, especially when it came to our passions.
Yeah, nice. And then what about like your music and stuff then? Tell us a little bit about your journey maybe before you started in Web3. So, how you got started quickly, and, what kind of music you're doing, and yeah, give us a little rundown on that.
Yeah, for sure. So music's always been a massive part of my life. Like I've been doing shows for my parents, playing guitar, singing, playing piano since a very young age. But I've probably been writing, producing, and engineering my own songs for the past 5 years or so. I do a lot of R&B. R&B is my main genre and my main theme that I've been sticking with for the past couple of years or so. And I've really started to build an image or a brand around myself around, pop, R&B. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. My day job is a producer and engineer and writer. So like I help out a lot of local artists, up and coming artists, write their songs. But I think the biggest thing for me that made Web3 so enticing was like the royalty game is just so trash in legacy music, man. I've had songs come out and have gotten very minimal for what I'm owed for songs that I've fully produced or fully written. And I think that's the initial thing that gravitated me towards Web3 was the fact that you own everything on the blockchain. You know what I mean? If you mint it.
Yeah, that's it. You don't need to rely on record labels, to make money, I guess. Whereas in the past, if you wanted to make money in music, you kind of did have to rely on record labels to get your song out there and, push you as an artist and things like that, right? So I think that's a really big change in Web3, which is really cool to see.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like, especially even if you are independent and you're putting your music out using Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, I don't know the exact number, but all the CEOs, the company owners, they're the people making all the P, you know what I mean? The artists are left out here to starve. So,
that's it. Yeah, totally. And so give us a little idea of how long, you've been introduced to this NFT or blockchain Web3 stuff for music. Because obviously I'm sure Dan was talking your ear off when he was getting right initially into crypto.
Guaranteed.
So has it been a little while you've sort of known just from, being mates with Dan, or is this something that you were sort of interested in yourself?
Oh, I give full credit to Daniel, man. Full credit. I'm very new to the space of Web3 and blockchain, and I'm still learning little bits and pieces every day. But probably I want to say about a year and a half to 2 years. That's when, just after lunches or going out or talking about my music, Daniel really started opening my eyes to the world of blockchain. Just as far as his involvement, he's only gotten busier and busier over the past year or so. So I mean, at some point, I just had to jump on the train, and yeah, we also already released an audio NFT single on OpenSea blockchain through Polygon, probably like at the start of the year, which Daniel was a big help in. Like full credit to Daniel, he really took over for that project and just allowed me to get my music on there. But even after just that one release, man, the money that I got back from that was crazy. We only sold like 10 units out of 100, and it was still better than pretty much like any royalties I've ever had in legacy music.
It was super
Yeah.
good though, because when I was talking to Jack about it and I finally convinced him to release some music on blockchain, I immediately went home and I was like talking to my partner. I was like, Jack has finally seen the light. Like he's swallowed the pill, guys. This is good. This is good. Water.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of only progress from there. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
What I find as well is great with those early projects. It's not necessarily how many you sell. It's that obviously you get a couple of numbers up, and you connect with a few people. But it's good to know those early adopters in your fan base, and then you can sort of re-identify them, and then re-reward them later down the track with more stuff. So it's not necessarily, there are so many artists in the space that are independent that have just started out that don't necessarily sell out with their first project, but they just go, yep, cool, that's the number I hit. I don't really want to push that anymore, like on to the next, and I'll use these funds to write my next lot of music that I'll release, and then reconnect with those fans that purchased the first one, and while I'm doing that, finding my new fans they're going to buy the next lot. So it's great.
Absolutely agree, man. It's all about the community. Like if I can just be in a space where I can grow my community as well as give back to that community, and we're all just supporting and growing off one another, then I'm in the best place I can possibly be as an artist or musician.
Yeah, it sounds like you do that a lot. Obviously, you mentioned earlier that you love producing and love helping out other artists already anyway, and like writing and doing that sort of engineer stuff. So I think you'll fit in really well in Web3. Finding that community and helping other people anyway sort of fits the mold very well.
Yeah, man. I feel like the biggest thing Web3, I mean, this new world and music, blockchain and music have in common is it's collaborative process. You know what I mean? It's either community, era working together. So it's exciting, the least to say. Yeah.
It's our favorite word on the podcast. Collaboration. I think we say it every episode, probably multiple times. Yeah, it's a huge one. I'm interested if there was anything in particular that that Dan said to you or that you saw that sort of was that light bulb moment, or that moment where you were like, all right, let's give this a crack, or all right, I want to look more into this. Was there anything like that for you, or was it more just eventually, Dan wore you down? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it had to be a bit of both, man. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's hard to recall, but I think the main thing was just the opportunities. I think at the time he was talking about how new we were to the scene, how early we were, and how many few artists, especially R&B singers and R&B writers, were to the world of Music 3. And I think he opened my eyes because I just saw it as a massive opportunity to be one of the first few artists to break into that scene and break into that new world. So, I mean, yeah, I think, that had to be it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's exactly it, isn't it? There is so much opportunity, and I don't know, like, I'm just thinking now about R&B artists that I've seen in the space, and you're right, there's not a huge number of them around. The few pop artists, some dance artists and stuff, but I don't really see too many R&B. And that's not to say that there isn't, because I'm sure there still would be, quite a few. But yeah, I definitely haven't seen many. So is that something that you're looking to maybe get in the ear of some mates and bring them into the space and that? Or is this like, since you've gotten in, have you been spreading the word to all the, you know, your friends and the people who you work with in the studio, or is this something you're sort of keeping under wraps a little bit? Because, you know, it's hard, because you talk about Web3 to some people and they hate it, or they think it's a scam or something, you know, and especially people in the music industry. So I just, you know, that's something that I struggle with myself, is trying to talk to people in my life. So is that something that you've found, or how has it been for you, sort of, you know, trying to open people's eyes to it, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, in my personal experience, it's been kind of 50-50 for me. So, like, I'll be honest, since I started promoting, you know, my first audio NFT single drop, I've had like all my producer friends and all my engineer friends message me straight away, just like, dude, how do I get on this? How do I be a part of this? You know, I want to mint my own NFTs, etc. But then I've also had like videographer friends and other people in my personal life who are just dumbfounded by it and just don't know how it could even exist. You know what I mean? Like, but the way I see it is you're either late to the bus or you're just right on time. You know what I mean, man? So I
Yeah.
mean, I just want to support everyone who wants to get involved, and I would never gatekeep this world. You know what I mean? If I can put myself in a spot to where R&B, pop records are present in the blockchain, then I would love to have as many artists as I could find on board to share that experience with me.
Yeah, totally. I'm pretty interested to hear about, you know, what you guys are actually doing now. So do we have a plan? You know, what's the plan for your project and your career and stuff? You know, like,
I saw you using. Sorry to like hijack that question as well. I saw,
Yeah.
just to add on to it, I saw you using like a promotional mechanism as well, where it was kind of focused on the fans. I can't recall it totally now. You might be able to tell us a little bit more about it for the upcoming project.
Yeah, so me and Daniel both are working on quite a big project that's part of the Motor Grants Artists project called Jack's Base, and that's basically just a one-stop shop website portal where I can do merch drops, online stream performances. Obviously, we're gonna have a Genesis NFT dropping in the future as well, and hopefully an EP even further in the future. And we're gonna use Jack's Base to market and not only market, but just have the Discord link there as well. So we're going to have like the community involved, and hopefully that's going to be the place where I can just not only give back, but drop all my content through as well in the world of Web3.
Hey, it's also like worth mentioning. So, like on that marketing thing,
I think I'm just reading it here. The community growth campaign. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's like grow.jackspace.com, I believe, grow.jackspace.com. And so the idea is that we're incentivizing the community to help us grow, where we kind of like giving out prizes essentially, so like merch, rewards, NFTs, that kind of stuff, one-on-one singles, NFT singles. So really just to kind of get that fan engagement behind it and get people interested in what we're doing. There's one thing in doing like a massive bounty campaign for whitelisting where you're like, oh, we'll pay you a certain amount of money if you just shill us on Twitter. More so this is kind of like focused around hopefully engaging those early adopters, like you were talking about earlier, like finding people who are genuinely interested in getting involved with music NFTs. And then something else about Jackspace too is that I think we were talking about this last week. It was the decentralization of your team. So when we're talking about getting people and getting supporters inside the Discord, it's not just about being able to work with them on a closer level, talking with them, or I guess giving them content to purchase. It's also about incentivizing them to help Jack with getting him to the next level. It's like, if they imagine building a community worth 10,000 people, someone in there is going to know someone who might be able to get you a publishing deal worth hundreds of thousands, or someone might know someone and they're like, we can get your music in the next, Chris Nolan film. You never know, because in the community, there's just all these types of people popping out of nowhere. And if you can build and if you can build a community like that, where you can just kind of incentivize them to help me get to the next level, it could put artists and fans and supporters in such a cool niche network and relationship and building careers really together.
To sort of bounce off that, the amount of like the last 6 months that I've seen, like projects that I'm collecting or projects that I'm just following, where you go to the website and you go to the team section, where I've seen it evolve into a space now where it might not even be necessarily the same people that were involved right at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's just like people that they've picked up along the way that were just in Web3 or have joined the community, just like Jai with pixel bands. There's just, you just don't know who's who here.
Yeah.
And immediately when someone's interested in the project or interested in the artist, in Jack's case, you want them to do well. So you're like, well, how can I help? Okay, well, I know so-and-so. Why don't I just call that favor in, because it's nothing to me, and let's go. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. 100%.
So with Jack's Base, then, so that we're talking about, so it's a portal for one sort of, or what, like we said, one place you can find all these different things. Is this something that, that's a concept that you're sort of developing just for yourself and your community, or is this something that you guys are looking to sort of develop for other people as well then down the track? Is this, are you thinking just for Jack, and Jack's Base, or is this something that you're going to maybe implement for other artists and things? Because I mean, it sounds like a really great tool, an idea that you guys are building, having that, one place where everything can happen. What's the thinking there? Is this something that you guys are just trying to demonstrate works, or is there any bigger plans for something like that?
I'm gonna let Daniel answer this one, man. This is just as much his project as it is mine, for sure, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the end game is to help as many artists as possible. That's always going to be like a big goal in my life, is making sure that people are not so much being put on, but like more so having the ability and the access to put themselves on. Like that seems to be a big thing. And then like down the track, potentially like the base protocol is pretty much, you can just move it across wherever you want to. For Jack, we built like custom smart contracts, custom NFT minters, custom minting dApps, the whole shebang. Took months of work. And so you can probably just use that and cookie cut it and apply it where it needs to be applied. It could also be interesting to help with like creating the UI. So like, for example, I can't remember the project name, but there's a project that allows people to build their own websites, but on Web3. It's super easy integration. Like Trelly might be I can't remember exactly. Anyway, if you could build a website where you could have the back end, which is the base protocol, and you could have the UI and the front end, and then artists can kind of build their own base by themselves without people having to do it. So there are all some fun ideas, really kind of like floating around always, but at the moment it's about finding success in Jack's Base, ensuring that the concept does work in practice, and making sure that Jack can get the most out of it. And then an artist might see that and be like, yeah, cool, let's do our own.
Yeah, it was just because the name, Jack's Base, it just like, it's like you said, like having a base or whatever. It just sounds so like something that you could use for other artists and stuff. Like anyone could have their own base kind of thing, and then but yeah, so it's definitely a great idea, because I think that's one thing that artists are still struggling with when you think about the music like coming into Web3. It's like, we've always had certain places for things, and then artists are obviously now like, well, where do I send people? Like, do I send them to my Discord, or do I send them to my website, or do I send them to where they can purchase at the marketplace? Like, it's almost like you need something where everything can live, I think. So just to make it streamlined, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of modeled off of a DAO as well, in a way. It's kind of a variation. Like, if you think about it, if you're getting the community to help out what you're doing, the bigger your community gets, the better the project gets. It's kind of that variation aspect.
I was wondering how far till we started talking about DAOs again. 18, 19 minutes in.
It comes with the name.
Comes with the name. No, no, it's awesome. And so, then so what was talk us through a little bit of the process. I know we went through it last week, about how how the artist grants for Motor DAO sort of happen, but how was the process for you, Jack, when going through this? Obviously you would have had some help from Dan in coming up with ideas and writing things and that, but what was that experience like?
Yeah, definitely. It was super exciting, man. I mean, I remember a few months back when I sat down with Daniel, and I first got accepted as a Motor Grants artist. And the first thing we did was really sit down and kind of figure out what I was going to invest in. And then we really started brainstorming. And about a week later, that's when me and Daniel came up with the startings of the Jack's Base idea. And like ever since then, I've been we've been investing heavily into that and just getting ready for these upcoming drops in the next few months or so.
With the I think Dan, you said that you got your own smart contracts, your own dApps, etc. Once you finalized all your ideas and stuff, did you find, were you helping with that directly, Dan, or did you have other devs involved, or where did you go to once you figured out like kind of like what you wanted to do? What was the process for you guys? I mean, you probably already have access to people, I presume, through Emanate and through MotorDAO, but I was just seeing if there was another process there.
No, man. That was just like a month of banging my head against the wall, teaching myself how to modify code. I genuinely there was no one I could talk to about it. So I just went onto YouTube. I went onto, Visual Studio Code and just figured it out. So yeah, it was hard work, but we're here.
Like months of stressing between the both of us, as far as
there's also we had to get all of the we have to get music figured out, we have to get the branding figured out, and obviously because Jack's the artist, he has the artistic design and the artistic vision about how he wants things to look. So the actual aesthetic of Jack's bass and that build process, that was all coming from Jack and all his creative side, which was amazing, to be honest.
I actually really love the banner on Twitter. I was like, well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Even just the music too. I easily have over 100 finished songs just sitting in my laptop, just going through deciding what's gonna make it to blockchain and what to market and etc.
I'm a big fan of artists with big banks of music ready to go. That's definitely high on my radar of fucking cool shit.
Yeah, we have to. You gotta make some bullshit to get to the good shit. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, that's a good point.
Yeah,
you'll see that in a TikTok video.
Yeah, mate, that's a tweet later on for sure.
Take credit, man. It's all yours.
That's the really cool thing about Web3, though, that I think attracts certain kinds of artists and things, is that there's that extra level of creativity. Like, it's not like you've got your creative side with music and things, but like you're talking about, you've got these aesthetics of the website and what you want to do with the project, because Web3 and NFTs and all that kind of stuff is almost limitless. Like, you can almost do whatever you want. It's just how creative you can be, and I think that's something as artists we should be embracing, rather than saying, oh, I just want to do the music, I just want to create the music. Well, this is like, you can create anything. Like, you guys are coming up with this concept for having the one spot where everything can live, and you can live stream from it, you can mint from it, you can interact with your NFTs, you can play your music NFTs, all these different things you guys might be working on. And I think that's another side of creativity that a lot of artists do have, and that's what I'm excited to see in the space. And I think they're the artists that are attracted to this space at the moment as well. So it's exciting
100%.
to hear that you guys are doing all this sort of stuff, and I really love that Dan, you were like saying that Jack has the creative inspiration and influence on the project. It's not like a lot of the times you think in Web 2 and stuff where people are almost fabricated through especially in the pop sort of scene. I think it's great to hear that the artists are actually getting the input on the creative side of even the business stuff, and and the blockchain stuff. And also props to learning the code yourself, man. That's pretty fucking awesome. That's pretty gangster.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about working with Daniel, man, is, he takes care of all the really important fine details, but he never fails to update me on exactly what's going on, like runs things over for me, even if he knows that I probably don't understand some of that yet. You know what I mean? He keeps me in the loop, and him in the loop with all my music. I play almost every demo for him if we have time, you know what I mean? And yeah, thanks, man. I'm really excited for us as well, too.
So do you guys have anything in the works? I know you said you're obviously working on it, and it's still sort of developing, and you're working on the community side of it, building that community and stuff. Do you have any ideas when you might drop your first lot of sort of Genesis collection stuff or anything for this project? Like, I know you've done the
roadmap dates.
Yeah, have you got any ideas, even if it's just a quarter or something like that? Like, do you guys, so everyone, if anyone's interested, they can make sure to keep an eye out?
It's definitely not anytime soon, but if I had to put a date on it, Daniel confirm, I think we're gonna say within the next 6 months, give or take though. Like, but for starters, don't freak out because you'll catch me on the feature page of Emanate in a couple of weeks. I'll be dropping a mean single called Used To, which everybody can listen to. And a couple weeks after that, I once again don't have an exact date, but I will be helping Emanate out with their end of the month launch party. And streaming hopefully a performance of mine. So we definitely have content in the works, and we're definitely working hard every day. You can definitely keep your eyes out for me, 100%.
He's also forgotten that he's going to be on the MotorDAO Genesis Audio NFT release, which we're hoping to release very, very shortly.
Yeah,
so like that's hopefully going to be a huge event that we're looking forward to. And then in terms of Jackspace stuff, that's up to the community. Like, we want to build the community out properly. We want to have real hardcore supporters there who are there with us. Because at the end of the day, we want to sell out. Like, it's great to put a project out on blockchain. It's great to sell, make some numbers, and it's good to start to connect with some new people. But to really get something off the floor, to get some buzz going in your project, something needs to happen. So we kind of, we're building to a stage where we feel like the market is ready. Like, obviously the market's very bearish at the moment. People are kind of pulling out of timing and pulling out of money.
Yeah.
It's a great time to just kind of build community, build products, build ideas, sharpen our edges, and get ready for when the opportunity presents itself.
That's great thoughts, great policy there. You definitely and I'll repeat this, and I think we said that in the last podcast, where it is super critical now is the actual time to build. Like, before, when the market's green, you could that October through December kind of period, you could have dropped fucking a piece of poo in a PNG GIF. People been like, yeah, we're in 10,000.
Yeah,
I'll mint 5.
Yeah.
And I think now is just an opportunity for you to really find the fans. Like, the hardcore fans are going to be here right now. And then if you're, when you're still here, and then the market comes back, you're just in prime position to dominate.
Exactly right.
Essentially.
Yeah, we're trying to strike fire before it's lit.
Yeah. That one will be on TikTok as well next week.
I just wrote it down.
That's a good one.
No, but I love, I think what you're talking about and the way you guys are going about this is really smart, and it's something that I've thought a lot about, and we've talked about on the podcast, is that you have this project that you're working on. That's your project, it's your baby, your thing that you want to launch, and you want it to do well, but you don't want to launch it too soon. So you're being involved in all these other Web3 projects, the launches and stuff on Emanate, and then the stuff with MotorDAO, and being involved and performing, hopefully, like in some kind of live stream situation, like being involved in other communities within Web3 before you actually launch your thing. I think that's what people have to do. And that's kind of what have been saying, and why we're saying everyone should get into the space now, because you need to start meeting these people, participating in other communities. And it's easy to do. Like, I get hit up all the time to DJ in the metaverse, and it's like, yeah, all right, what time? And it ends up being like, 3 a.m. for me or something on a Wednesday. And I'm like, sorry guys, I don't know if I will or not. Hey, but that's what I mean. It's people are looking for musicians and performers and artists and people who have these talents to provide content for them in their project. So I think, have you seen many people now that maybe you are starting to do things within the space? Are you seeing a bit of following, in the community and stuff, or is there much sort of, I say, traction from being in the space for the last, little bit?
We've definitely had a few people join the Discord and had a few conversations going on, and we've definitely also seen some nice small growth on the Jackspace Twitter, as well as the Jackspace community growth campaign. Nothing outstanding yet so far. I think we're waiting for the next few upcoming events. like you said yourself, the M&A launch party, and also hopefully my next NFT drop, to just create a bit more buzz with a little bit more marketing than the first audio NFT release, which we did with no marketing and just, it was a test run pretty much.
I just want to revisit the growth campaign again and just throw my props to that. When I went over it and I had a look at it, I think Dan, you sent over the Jackspace Twitter this week, and I went over and I was looking through it, and it just, even the initial, where you usually, you have your pinned tweet and you've got like, that's the most points if you can like engage and like the pinned tweet. I think something like that, which was, it just felt really simple.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel attacked. I didn't feel like it was too much. I went through it and I was just like, this feels like I have an opportunity to be organic inside this. There's no, you need to do this. And it didn't feel like, the multiple other, using something like DistroKid or Hyped It, where it's like, you must follow my Spotify or you will never download this track for the rest of your life and you will be banned from my profile.
Legacy music is scary.
Yeah, it felt good, and I just really wanted to compliment again. For those listening, check out Jackspace OG on Twitter and go through the grow, the community campaign, and just have a look. Like
grow.jackspace.com.
.com, and have a look at that for someone that's looking to market their project in Web3. I couldn't see something simpler where you don't necessarily have to continue to tend it like a garden. It just seems like you just potentially just grow your social media, and as your social media grows, more people will connect with that, and that will just grow on its own. So I really, I really felt that when I was there. I just wanted to compliment it again.
Thanks, dude.
Also for you, Jack, when you were talking about, what was the song that you've got coming up again? That
Used to, and that's coming out just on Emanate.
Yeah, so that's only going to be on Emanate. That's what I wanted to ask. There's going to be no Web2 presence.
Yes, so everything, for me personally, everything that I've got planned for the rest of 2022 is strictly Web3 releases.
Crazy.
Maybe NFT drops and just on Emanate exclusives.
You're probably like the first artist I've heard that's just gone hardcore Web3, so that's really cool to hear.
Well, I feel like in an oversaturated market, you have to do certain things to stand out. And I feel like this is going to catch some people's attention. You know what I mean? Just that loyalty to the space for how early it is. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that is smart too. Because people will feel loyal to, people will be like, oh, look at this dude. He's going all in on the space. Like, they're going to want to support you because they're supporters of the space. So it's, that's a really, really clever way to go about it.
Yeah.
What are some challenges you've found, Jack, as an artist coming into the space? Like, is there anything that you still, maybe trying to figure out in terms of how you guys approach it, or, any challenges? And for you too, Dan, is there anything that you guys are finding, not a roadblock, but, maybe a bit more challenging than you thought it would be, or anything like that? I'm just interested. We can always sit here and talk about all these awesome things, but are there any things you've run into that are, a bit more challenging than you thought?
For me personally, the biggest thing and the simplest thing is really just trying to make the space seem more commercial to my small audience. So I've brought a very small portion of my audience over to the space, but I feel like it's very hard to make it seem fun and new and energetic if people are not that interested in the specifics of the chain or know nothing about it. I think making it more marketable and making it more commercial for me. Yeah. How about yourself, Dan?
Honestly, most of my challenges have been like really good challenges, and I feel like you guys are probably going to relate to this, but just from a length of being working in the industry, learning as much as I have been learning, and working with new and new people, what feels like every day, the opportunities just seem to become endless. And instead of being in a position where you're like, I'm scraping for something to do, it's just like raining on you. It's just pouring. And so you have to start to kind of differentiate, do I want to take this meeting? Do I want to work with this person? Is there going to be a tangible outcome from this conversation that I'm about to be having? So it's kind of like navigating that without wanting to be exclusive, like excluding people as well. You want to be accessible as possible without, you know, accidentally killing yourself because of overexhaustion. So those are kind of like really good challenges to have. Of course, I'm like absolutely not complaining, and I love the space. But over time, I think it's growing pains. It's trying to scale yourself. It's trying to work across multiple projects. It's trying to look after yourself, and those are all just massive challenges that I've been having recently, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've struggled with in the past as well. I think this year we said we're going to say no more to stuff.
Yeah,
Saying no, whereas, you know, definitely usually just say, yeah, let's do that, and just, you know, give it a crack kind of thing. But it's like you said, there are so many opportunities you have to pick and choose. And Jack, what you were saying about like making it a bit more like commercial and that, like, totally, I know what you mean. It's like, if people don't want to have to learn all the things you have to learn just to be able to participate, you know, like they don't want to learn how to set up a MetaMask and, oh, what do I do with the seed phrase, and like, oh, so
yeah,
what, I don't give that
Yeah.
to anyone, or
You just email it to me.
I give them this long like code for my wallet, like that's my wallet address, and this is a code I don't give to, like, you know, I think it's just that
Yeah.
people don't want to learn the technology side of it, right? That's
100%.
definitely something I've run into.
Yeah, especially coming from where I'm sitting, which is a little bit knowledgeable, but also know nothing at all. It's just I'm in that in between spot where it's like, okay, how do we make this easier for people who know zilch and still want to be involved, or you know, yeah.
It's kind of like, I think we're still so early, because if you think of it like when thinking about music specifically, so when CDs were around and you just buy a CD and you put your CD in the CD player, that's such an easy way to listen to music. But now with Music 3, we're trying to be like, hey, you need to get this wallet, you need to go to this website, you need to buy this NFT, and then you need to go to this user interface over here to be able to listen to it properly. And that user interface is also trash, by the way, so you're going to have a really difficult time with that music. So it's kind of like, how do we get from that stage to NFT into the NFT player and I'm listening?
That's such a really good analogy and way to like break down the current fucking state of Web3 music. Essentially, it's
like asking people to build radios and mint the CD themselves and enjoy music. I hate it after that. Right?
Yeah.
But essentially, you know, like when we hit that stage of, and this is when the whole market broke anyway, which is when we were using things like Napster and whatever else. You were kind of at that stage.
Yeah.
The people that were burning CDs, the people who were downloading music, were at the stage that you're talking about, that we're currently in Web3, where they kind of had to figure out, like, I remember burning my first CD. I think I went through 5 CDs before I figured out actually how to get the music on there properly. You know, or how to find a program, because you couldn't even find programs that could do it properly. That, you know,
and they weren't rewritable, so if you burnt one, you couldn't do anything with it anymore. Like,
how many songs fit on it?
You wouldn't steal
Mate, I'll burn music till I'm dead. But it was just, I think that's a real light bulb moment for me, like looking at the two separate spaces, 2 different timelines, and just seeing the almost identical similarities. I think you've nailed it on the head there.
Yeah, well, imagine trying to teach old ladies how to put music onto an MP3 player back in 2001.
I mean, I broke
at Dick Smith.
I missed Dick Smith, man. That's some memories right there, right?
It was like, you know, breaking your parents' heads when you put a video on a hard drive and plug it into their television for them, and they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I think we're still, as you said, and we'll continue to say it until it changes. We're early. That's it.
Yeah.
We're so early, and it's not going to be any different for a while yet. So pucker up.
Build.
All right, so got a few releases coming up and stuff that we spoke about. Is there anything else you guys have coming up, you know, for the project and things? Because, you know, we'll put some stuff in the show notes, definitely, with, you know, links to all the stuff we were sort of talking about. But is there anything else, you know, coming up, whether it's for performance or just anything you guys are excited about? You know, let us know, because we could sit here forever and talk.
I know Daniel's going to pretty much every state of America very soon. But other than what we talked about earlier, I'm pretty much set, man. I'm just gonna be focusing on content, hitting the studio and recording, getting songs ready for my EP. But as far as my live performances, yeah, that's it for me.
Maybe
Oh,
Dan,
no, like, there's a I'm so sorry to speak over you. I
That's all
apologize. There's a club in Gold Coast called Club Meta. It's run by a guy called Damien King. I think that's how obviously we found each other originally. We're going to be trying to get, well, not trying to, but we're probably going to be getting Jack in for a live performance at Meta Bar at some point very soon, probably when I'm back from the States, which will be like his second live performance this year. So it should be like super cool, super intimate. Would love to, you know, have as many people there as possible when we do eventually get around to it. And then we're also going to be finishing off Decentraland, like a massive warehouse club in Decentraland that will be having artists perform at as well through Moda. So absolutely, Jack's going to be a part of it as well. So there's going to be a lot of real life and a lot of digital, real life and digital stuff going.
Bless.
I think you mentioned as well the Emanates NFT Genesis NFT, music NFT launch as well.
Yeah, the Audio Genesis with Moda Audio Genesis.
Moda with Moda.
Yeah.
When do you have a timeline on that at all? Or?
Towards the end of June, I think some initial one's going to be at NFT in New York City. So
Sick.
It should be pretty cool in real life. Keep your eyes peeled. Right now, I can't tell because we're doing something that's going to be insane, and we're at like 95%. We just need to get just this little bit further, and then we can publicly announce what's going to be happening. But NFT in New York City with Moda is going to be like, it's going to pop. It's going to be the best thing.
Exciting for both of you. Like it sounds like there's a big year ahead for both of you, and thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of the podcast.
No worries, guys. Thanks so much.
Of course, man. I really appreciate you having me on here.
And I think we got everywhere to find you as well. We talked about it in the show, so we'll put that in the notes. So if anyone wants to check out your Twitter and everything, they can go and check that out as well. So
100%. Find me on everywhere. Jack McGraw, JackMegraw. That's my handle for everything.
Yeah, nice. That's good. It's you
Little
gotta have the
plug.
same handle.
Yeah, dude. Been there,
For
done
sure.
that. We keep it simple.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. Everyone.